Hi, I'm Lawrence, and this is Sporting Law from the Sprung Gym and Sports Flooring team. April 12th, 2009. The Harlequins were against Leinster in a Heineken Cup quarter-final that couldn't have been higher stakes. Picture this, a packed crowd, the tension on the field palpable, and with just minutes left on the clock, Harlequins needed something extraordinary to turn the tide. Their star kicker, Nick Evans, had already been replaced due to injury, but the team was desperate to get him back in play. And then there's Tom Williams, a winger who found himself at the center of it all. Now think of the pressure they were under. The weight of expectations, the desire, no, the need to win. It's overwhelming, you know? I mean, these are players who've trained, struggled, and dreamed of moments like this. But what happened next wasn't about skill or strategy. It was about something far more calculated and deceitful. Suddenly, Williams signaled he was bleeding. It seemed routine at first. Blood injuries happen in rugby. It's part of the grit, part of the game. The referee stopped play and Williams left the field.
You can come on. If it's marked as replacement, you can't. That is fine. It's quite entitled to come on up front. It's quite entitled.
But here's where it gets, let's call it complicated. Harlequins substituted Nick Evans back in, and for a moment it felt like a smart tactical move. But only for a moment. Because then came the wink, that quick, almost casual glance from Williams toward the bench. Did anyone else catch it? That wasn't an injury, and that wasn't real blood. The fallout from Bloodgate was immediate and honestly devastating for everyone involved. Tom Williams took the brunt of the initial punishment, a 12-month ban for his part in the scheme. Think about that, a whole year sidelined from the game he loved, all because of one moment. And then there was Dean Richards, the Harlequins head coach and, well, the mastermind behind it all. Rugby officials weren't pulling any punches there. Richards was banned for 3 years. 3 years. It's hard to overstate just how huge that is in the world of professional sports. The club itself wasn't spared either. Harlequins got slapped with a £260,000 fine, a staggering amount for a scandal that, at its heart, came down to a single wink and a capsule of fake blood. But was it really just about that moment? Not even close. The backlash went far deeper than any fine or suspension. Fans were outraged, journalists were relentless in their criticism, and rugby's reputation, built on integrity, honor, and fair play, was now in serious jeopardy. I mean, imagine being a fan during all of this. You grow up believing in the spirit of the game, and then something like this hits. You're left wondering whether anything is truly sacred anymore. And the quotes from that time, wow, they really illustrate just how raw the emotions were. One rugby journalist called it, and I quote, the darkest moment in the sport's history. Another fan said it felt like the soul of rugby had been sold for a shot at victory. Those weren't just words, they were gut punches, really. But perhaps the most chilling revelation came from Williams himself. Later on, he shared that he'd been pressured into the act. Pressured to cheat, and as if using a fake capsule wasn't bad enough, he revealed he was even told to bite into a real blood capsule if things didn't go as planned. Can you picture that? The sheer audacity of it all. This wasn't just a lapse in judgment, it was an orchestrated, systematic betrayal of rugby's values. And the domino effect. It went beyond individuals and extended to the sport as a whole. For rugby, Bloodgate became a wake-up call, a moment of reckoning that raised some hard, uncomfortable questions about ethics, competition, and what truly matters in the game. One of the lasting impacts of Bloodgate is how it forced rugby to take a long, hard look at itself. The scandal wasn't just a headline, it became a catalyst for change. In the wake of everything that unfolded, rugby authorities introduced stricter medical protocols, ensuring that any blood injuries or substitutions were monitored closely by independent professionals. And those substitution rules,
You can come on. If it's marked as replacement, you can't. That is fine. It's quite entitled.
they were tightened up to make sure loopholes like this couldn't be exploited again. It was a wholesale effort to restore trust, not just among players and officials, but among fans who felt betrayed. But here's the thing, this wasn't the first instance of ethics being bent for the sake of winning in sports, and it won't be the last. Take baseball's infamous steroid era, where home run records were shattered, but at the expense of trust in the game. Or how about the hand of God goal in football? These moments, they stick with us, don't they? They remind us of that uneasy tension between wanting to succeed and abiding by the unwritten rules of integrity. When does ambition cross the line, and who's responsible for pulling it back in check? They're tough. Questions to answer, and let's not overlook the human angle in all of this. Players and coaches, they're under immense pressure, not just from fans and team owners, but often from themselves. Being great is hard, staying great even harder. And yet, as the Bloodgate scandal and others like it have shown, playing fast and loose with the rules can come with consequences that stretch far beyond the scoreboard. The reputational cost is staggering, sometimes irreparable. But perhaps the most important lesson is a simple one. Integrity matters. In rugby, in sports, in life. Ultimately, Bloodgate wasn't just a scandal about a rugby match. It became a symbol of what can go wrong when winning becomes the only thing that matters. And in the grand scheme of things, maybe that's its legacy. A reminder that the values we hold often speak louder than the victories we chase. Thanks for joining me today on this journey through one of rugby's most infamous chapters. If there's one thing to take away, it's this. Integrity isn't just a rule, it's the foundation of everything we do. And on that note, we'll see you next time on Sporting Law.
Just listen.